everyone. How are you guys? Thank you for coming. Let me know where you guys are all from. I'm really excited. Hi, Christy's here. Hi, Christy, Brittany, Johnny. Oh, Brittany, you're from New Mexico. Johnny's from Fort Collins, Richmond. Thanks for coming, you guys. So many people had so many questions. Denver, Bliss, hi. I'm really excited. Oh, Christy said the same thing. I'm very excited to do this. So just a little bit about me. I have some chocolate on the corner of my mouth. Maybe it's, I don't know what that is. My husband just brought some ice cream and I had a bite before. That don't know, my name is Carly Grundmann and I have had this dream. Little backstory about me. Growing up, it's spring break. My dad is a car guy and anything with wheels guy. And so one of our things growing up is we got RVs, trailers, like the camper trailers that go on the, not their trailers, the camper things that go on the back of trucks. And we adventured. I grew up in Salt Lake and every spring for Easter, we would take all of the family friends and we'd have a caravan down to Southern Utah and go to Zion, Arches, Bryce, all those national parks, just camp. And it was the best. And then as we got older, spring break turned into, my family loves to shop. We'd take the motorhomes from Salt Lake to either Vegas or Palm Springs, California, and stop at every single outlet mall on the way. Anyways, my life grew up in RVs. And so I've always been into real estate for a while. And I had come upon, most of you guys may know Pace Morby. He talks about getting into real estate creatively. Does anybody here not know what creative real estate is? Because I don't want to like over explain this to you guys that are here. It's okay if you don't. It's basically getting into an asset like an RV or a house without going and being like, hey, Mr. Banker, here's my taxes. Here's my job, my bank accounts. Here's all these like things so you can check to make sure that I get these. So basically it's very legal, not illegal, where people will get these things. And so the way we take it over is either seller financing, which most people are used to understand what it is, where the seller is the bank, or subject to, where it would be like, hey, somebody went and got a loan on an RV, went to the bank, showed their information, all good, got the loan under their name, and then they don't want to have it anymore. They get into trouble and they can't pay it. And then I can come along and be like, hey, let me take over this loan. I'll pay the payments. And it's takes a lot of trust, especially with vehicles, for somebody to do it, and a lot of motivation to sell, but it is possible. So what I've done is I've always wanted this. I met Pace, who is my inspiration for this. And I'm like, I want RV parks. Because I grew up in those RV parks. Like the ones like Palm Springs and Newport Beach and like those places on the beach. And I always told him, I'm like, I want to get a Sprinter van. Do you guys know what those Sprinter vans are? They're the vans that are equipped. Anyways, so am I sharing my screen? What's going on here? My thing's being crazy. Anyways, so I got those and I want to show you, talk to you guys about it. I asked a bunch of you guys, what do you guys want to know? Like, if you guys want, you can raise your hands. You can say, how did you get them? I think the biggest question is, how do I get them? So can you guys hear me? Let's see. I think you guys can. Okay. Audio is choppy. Okay, hold on. I don't know why it's being like this. Just a second. I'm going to fix this. All right. Is the audio better this way? I'm just changing my audio situation. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, guys. I've been having issues with my mic. Can I help you? Okay, I'll have Daddy come home. Sorry. Daddy was supposed to come take her and she said she wouldn't. Okay. Anyways, sorry, you guys. That was a Costco hot dog, Joel. That is how I feed my kids on days like tonight. A Cost dog. Good call. Okay. So a lot of people are like, okay, so Joshua's like, that's what I want to know is how you go about getting these financial wise. So I'll just go through how I got these. And if you guys have questions, raise your hand, drop them in the chat because I just want it to be something Josh, you were on my thing today. Josh says, at least Rory is homesick. That was my daughter, Rory. And I made her homemade tomato soup and she interrupted my other Zoom to tell me that it tasted like dirt. And I think that's what Josh is talking about. Thank you. Yes, at least she's eating it. So, okay. So I'll talk about how I got it. Feel free to raise your hand, put questions in the chat because I want a lot of this to be like, a lot of people are like, I want to pick your brain. I want to know how you got this. And it's just easier for me to do it with everybody all at once. So, okay. So how I got these, my first one was, I'm going to change this for a second. It's just driving me nuts. My first one was I also am a wholesaler kind of. So what's a wholesaler? A wholesaler will get stuff under contract. Someone reached out to me. They saw me online and they said, hey, I have this friend. She's in a really bad situation. Tried to sell their house on the market and couldn't get it sold. And they have this, it's going to go into foreclosure, which means the bank takes over. So they couldn't sell on market because they had taken it down to its studs. Plumbing was gone, HVAC was gone. Like it was literally a shell of a house in Nampa, Idaho. And I was like, I can try to find a buyer for it. So I got it under contract, SUBTO, which is the buyer would pay back. They hadn't been paying their mortgage to the bank. So they were like, it was pretty far behind. I think it'd been about a year behind on. So the buyer, I found a buyer and she said, okay, I'll pay this back stuff. I'll take the house over subject to. She's a flipper. She's a real estate agent. So she gets it. So I found a buyer for it and I said, okay, I'll find a buyer. Do you also want to sell this RV that you have? And she's like, yes, that's behind. I have payments. It's not insured. We got to get rid of it because it costs so much money to store. We haven't been paying for that either. So for that one, it's a lot of these things are just about who you know, and the relationships that you build. So I got her house under contract, assigned it to that realtor for $10,000 and just took over her RV. So that way I got paid basically to take over her RV. So it was a bumper pull trailer. I can show it to you guys if you guys want to see it. It's 2015. So one hot tip, if you guys are into doing this, it was in really good condition. I normally don't do anything late as 2015. Why? Because RVs will get expensive as they get older and then they're not under warranty. And especially if you're going to rent them out, they do get a lot of wear and tear on them. Oh my God, my poor thing. I'm just like, that's like one thing that we'll talk about when you go to rent them out. You just have to be really careful because people have no idea what they're doing and they're towing this trailer. So this is a 24, 26 foot. I won't go anything more than that, because you're renting these things out to people that don't know how to tow or reverse. You know, you like turn this way and the trailer goes this way. It gets a little beat up. So, I won't get anything later than a 2015, but this was in a really good shape. I should have gone out and done this in my trailer. That would have been cuter, my van. So that's how I got that one. I got paid $10,000 to take that one. Good question, Brittany. How did I evaluate if it was worth purchasing? That's a really good question. Okay, so what I did is I went on to RV Trader and I was like, how much is this worth? So like every deal is going to be different. This was essentially a free RV for me because they were just like, take over my payments. I'm in a bad situation. I'm behind on payments. So I had to look at how much behind they were and what it would cost to get it set up. And so I think they were about 500 behind that I had to reinstate the loan. And I had to get insurance and I had to get, this is what we'll go through in a minute. I had to get insurance that allowed renters because if you go to Geico or these other ones, they won't allow renters. And if they find out that you're renting it and the renters crashed it, it's going to void your stuff and then you're out. That stuff. So what I looked at was what it was worth if I went and sold it right now on RV Trader, what similar ones were going for. Then I looked at what the balance that was left on the mortgage. No, I keep saying mortgage, the loan. And it was pretty much even. So it means there's just no equity in it. So that's how I evaluated it. Then I went and looked at places like Outdoorsy, which is where I rent it out. And I'm like, let me find similar trailers to this in the area that I'm going to be living and renting this out. So I live right outside of Seattle in Gig Harbor, Washington. It's a great place. You're going to also want to evaluate where you are and you're renting these. This is a great place because we have the Pacific Northwest is just, you have beaches, you have national parks, you have rainforests, you have mountains to ski on. You have so much up here. It's so beautiful. Pacific Northwest is a great place. So we're just like where we are. It's just close to Mount Rainier, close to the Olympics, close to the beaches. So it's a really, really good place. So back to what Brittany was asking, how do I evaluate? I look at what's left on the loan. I look at what it's worth. I look at the monthly payment and what that's going to be. And I'll look at insurance and how much that's going to be, registration, all these things like the cost of ownership with it. And then how much I could get for it. So this one was a really good, the trailer, it's $250 a month. So, and I rent it out on Outdoorsy for $110 a night. So I just have to rent it out, for 3 nights, maybe 4 to break even for that. So, which is really, really nice. So that was worth it. You want to make sure you're not buying something where they call it upside down, where the mortgage is like $70,000. I keep calling it mortgage. The loan is like $70,000 and you can sell it for 60. That means there's like negative equity and you can do it. It's just your risk tolerance. Like if you think this is going to be a moneymaker, then do it. And maybe you can sub-to it to someone else. I wouldn't sub-to a sub-to though of a trailer. One thing with vehicles and RVs is it's not quite like houses. Like when you sub-to a house, you go through title and you deed it to yourself. It gets deeded to you. So you can't, it's very much not like a house. So the registration, and it depends by state also. Each state has different ways of selling things. So I can get into that if you guys want, but it's very different to do that. Can you go through dealers? No, that's a good question. Yes and no. If the dealer's going to work with you, if they can finance it. See, dealers, they are like, okay, we'll hook you up with a bank where you go to the bank to do it, or you can go and the dealer will be the bank. But either way, you can't really, unless somebody's going to sell or finance it to you. And the dealers, they want to check your credit. I mean, if you want your credit checked, if you want all of that done, you can go through dealers. And I'll tell you how I got my van, because it's semi through a dealer, but not really. So let's see. How do you guarantee when you get the payoff of the SUBTO? That's a good question, Sabrina. So I'm going to go to the dealer question that Joel asked. So how we got our Sprinter van was something that was like a dream of mine. I was just like, my husband and I were like, we want one of these. Our kids are little. We really wanted one. There's ones with the pop top, so you can sleep more people where the top pops open. So this has just been like, we've just been fixated on it. We've just really, really wanted this van. And I grew up, my dad was a car guy and he's a Ford guy. And when you're a Ford guy, Dodges are the devil. So I was raised to hate Dodges. And this has a reason. So most of these vans are built on a Dodge or Ram chassis, which is owned by Dodge. And yes, somebody pointed out in my last Zoom that Mercedes got owned by Dodge, and I didn't realize that. So anyways, so I was like, I can't get a Dodge. I'll get disowned from my dad. So then I'm like, it has to be a Mercedes because there's nothing else, or a Ford. They have Ford Transit vans. They're less easy, they're harder to find. So I got Alex, my husband, was going through, and there's RV Trader, and there's all these places. You find it the same way if you look for the way you look for motivated sellers on the MLS with agents. So, but you just go to different things. So for those of you that may not know, if you want to go to the MLS to find SUBTO or creative financing, things that people will do, they'll go to the search criteria and they'll search for like 90 plus days on market. They'll look for price drops. What else? They'll just look for all these different things that indicates they're trying to sell it and there's motivation, but they're not, the market's telling them no, thank you. So, Alex, my husband, and I were going through Facebook and RV Trader, and we were going by the days amount of, posted. So like on market for X amount of days. And so Alex, my husband, was in the car business and was a really good sales guy. And so he was going through and DMing people. Bliss is like, I'm from the Motor CD. I totally get it. You get it, Bliss. And so that's how we were going. And they're really, really, really hard to get because one, people know their value. Two, they're hot and people will pay for them. However, if you guys are looking for a Sprinter van now, there is hope because people bought them a lot during COVID when everything was cheap and everything was shut down and they wanted to roam around and go explore and everything was shut down. And now they're getting ready to sell them because COVID is over and everyone's back at work. So this is what happened with this guy. So Alex, I mean, we were just getting shot down. I'm like, I had just given up. It's not going to happen. Alex was on RV Trader. He messaged this guy. It was on market. He dropped for like 90 plus days. He keeps dropping the price. And those Mercedes ones are really, really expensive. We had actually, side note, tried to get one of the Ford ones that there's two kinds. There's one that's built out by Winnebago, like an RV manufacturer. And there's the kind where builders will buy an empty cargo van and build it out themselves in their shop. So we had actually gotten close to getting one of those, but my dad, who is a car guy and talks to car guys, he was like, oh, I was talking to this guy and he said they're not good for insurance, especially if you're going to rent them out, because when they're insured, you're only insuring the van. And then you spend like $100,000 to build them out with like beds or toilets or refrigerators and lights and stuff so you can live in them. And he's like, so one, if your goal is to rent this out, it's probably smarter, one, to get it built by the manufacturer, because insurance wise, they'll cover all the insides, the beds, the toilets, the fridges. If it's just a cargo van that they build out after it's bought, they're only going to insure you for the van. and you're screwed on the $100,000, which is really scary if you're renting it out to strangers too. So, Omar says, I just read an article that RV dealerships and private owners are motivated more than ever now. Yes, due to the economic state, and this could be a huge opportunity for all of us. Yes, that is absolutely true, Omar. Coupled with everybody buying it during COVID and the economic state now, it's a good time to get in. Absolutely right. So just a hot tip on that. If you guys are looking, there's two kinds. We bailed on that aftermarket one. They couldn't sell it. They were going to give us a killer deal. They were going to drive it to us. Ruben, that's a good idea. He says you should do a mentorship on this. Gators are grandfathered in. That is a good idea. I don't know. Would you guys want to be in on this? I don't know how much information I have to share, but yeah, I would. I'd be happy to do that. So I'm just all over the place right now. I'm going back to Joel's question about, can you go through dealerships? Okay. So we'd opted to go through Winnebago. So that would be like the Winnebago Revel. There's the Solus. There's all of these different brands. And so we opted for insurance purposes to go through an RV built one. So also, what's a good point about that is these aftermarket people that build them out, they have no idea what they're doing sometimes. And like everything's built. Winnebago has been doing this I was going to Google this before I started, when Winnebago started making motorhomes. It's been a long time. This is not their first rodeo, is RVs, and they kind of have everything nailed. So another reason why things won't break as much. And if they do, 1958, Daniel says. I was going to say the 40s, but that's even, yeah, I believe that, 1958. So it's not their first rodeo. Let's see. Joel says, shit, I used to test drive cars last year. I learned to drive manual myself. Now I have an excuse to do it again. I love it. So, okay. After those detours, let's get back to Joel's original question. Can you go through dealerships? So I know a guy who is well connected with dealerships, and he helped me get the van. So what we did, a lot of people with vans, especially, and just like Omar said, people might be more motivated now. This was at the last spring. I mean, the market wasn't as bad. So, there's probably more motivation now. But okay. Hi, Rory. Where was I? Okay. So we got for the RVs, they're hot. So people want cash. They know what they have. The guy that was selling it had bought it during COVID. He and his wife are avid travelers. And like when COVID hit, it was really tough for them not to be flying all over the world. Then COVID stopped and he could travel. So it was a 22 with 1,800 miles on it, which is like nothing. They've used it once or twice. They've used it once or twice. And then, COVID stopped. So it was just sat in a barn for a year. So it was like pretty much a brand new one that it still smells brand new, which is amazing. And then, so what I did is how many of you guys are gators here? Let me know in the chat. I used a gator method that has not been taught yet. So we have a few. We have 3 gators in here. 4. Yes. I'll make sure he comes back. Hold on. Okay, sorry. So yes, go watch my phone. Okay. So I knew you guys were Daniel says we were all on Pace's last minute Zoom before this. I know, I was like, no one's going to come to this because Pace is way more exciting than me. But okay. So the way I got the van was, what you guys are going to learn in Gator 4.0. And you guys haven't been taught this yet. So if you're interested in getting into Gator, I would get into Gator sooner than later, because as they start teaching more things, it's going to be more. So if you guys want to get into it, go to www.getgatornow.com, I think is what it is. But I did loan sponsorship with this. So loan sponsorship is you get a guy that has good credit and have them go to the bank for you. So I did not go to the bank for this. This guy had such good credit that this was, mind you, not that long ago. So like the interest rates are going up, like everything's starting to happen. He has such good credit. They're like, listen, we'll give you a 0 down option at an 8% rate, which is really good actually right now. Before my other trailers, like I think it's 6%. So he's like, okay. And he put his name on it and then he wholesaled it to me pretty much. He assigned it to me. So I used his credit. He went to the bank, his credit, all that stuff, and it's still in my business's name. So I got a guy to go to the bank for me. So all in all, within 2 months, I got, to pay $10,000 to buy one. And I got the van. Oops. I hate when that happens. The van for, nothing down, but there's a catch with that. It's a $2,000 a month payment. So it's a hefty payment. But it's also a moneymaker, on Outdoorsy. I can get it in the summertime at peak season for $350 a night. So, and then you can make more money on Outdoorsy by doing add-ons. So, any questions about that? How do you get into, what are some other questions you guys have? Let me go back up. You guys all had a lot of good questions. Let's see. Christy, what's your question? You have your hand raised.
Hello.
Hi.
I don't know if my camera is on right now or not, but
it's not, but we can hear you.
Okay. Hello. Thank you for doing this.
Yes, thank you.
Of course. I told you I'm super motivated.
I know.
What I'm curious about, I'm so sorry my camera's not on. I feel weird.
Okay.
Anyway, but so we recently went to a dealership near us. Because we just wanted to kind of check out, because we're really interested in kind of more of like the vans or the Sprinter vans.
Yeah.
And it was interesting because at least by us, we're in Southern California. They were telling us that these things, like as hot of a commodity as they are, they're really hard to move off the dealership. So they were like, we struggle so much to sell these and to get them off, but we have to get them off in order to get all of like the C-class on that do sell really well. Because they'll make us take these. So I was just curious because, you know, you had mentioned maybe there are ways, or I don't know if you had ideas of working with dealerships. It sounds like they actually are motivated, but here's where I am not one of you super creative people. When it comes to
you can be though.
So you guys are all on the other paths that you have acquired those skills. Yes. So I'm just curious to know more about ideas in terms of if we were to utilize a dealership. Like for me, I'm not as worried about like my credit or qualifying in that way. It's just more of the price point or getting it to where it makes sense, I guess.
Yes. So if you're like Christy, if you're like, I don't care about all that other stuff and I don't care about getting it creative. So I grew up in the car business, so I get it. When they are ready to they have pressure from the factory to get rid of those, just like you said. And they have to make the factory happy to get the good things that they want that do make the money, and they make them take things exactly like you said. So you can use that information to your advantage and just negotiate a killer deal. And, just go in there and be like, I don't know, and just get them down. And if you know that sometimes you have to play the long game with them, but, especially I can tell you right now is a really good time if you're going to go to a dealership and buy something, because the car business, at least the car business, I'm sure the motorhome business too, is dead because they always say you can't compete with Santa Claus in the car business. Like everybody's going to the mall, everybody's going to Black Friday. Like nobody is going to buy RVs right now and at Christmas time. So now's a really, really, really good time to go just start playing the long game with those dealerships and just like be a looky-loo and like don't give them, don't give them too much, but be like, I'm interested, I don't know. And just work them. And then be like, and I can help you if you want. Look at the deals. Like we got ours at a really good price. Ours was not selling. This is another tactic. You could go to like Indiana is where we got ours. And that is not a big van place or like RV place as much as it is here. So we could take, no, Dad's coming to get you. We could take the one that we bought in Indiana, come to the Pacific Northwest and sell it, flip it, for, an extra $15,000 just because we got such a good deal for it. I don't know where my phone is. If you can find it, you can have it. So hold on. I'm sorry, you guys. So that's one option is just, and I can help you, Christy, if you have any questions, like, is this a good deal? And I can help you underwrite it. What is your goal with it? Is your goal to rent it out or is your goal just to have it for your family?
We want to rent it out, but we also want to be able to use it. Sometimes we wouldn't use it heavily. So we would mostly be renting it out. And then it would probably be like a portion of the summer we'd be using it ourselves.
So that's exactly how we wanted it too. Here. And I can help you look at features. Like there's things that do really well with the RVs. Like if you don't have, what part of California are you in? Are you in Southern California, did you say?
Yeah.
So you have a good area to rent it out year round too, which is really nice.
Mm-hmm.
I just lost my train of thought because Rory came in here. So what were we talking about? I'm so sorry.
That's okay. You were saying that you could help like look at the deals and to figure out
yes,
how
look
to
at the
underwrite
deals.
it.
So there are things like if you want to make the Mercedes, they're dubbed luxury, so you can get more on those. Also, if you get the pop top, that is nice because you can get more people. But we got the one with solar, so you can't have a pop top. So you just have to decide, like, do you want to go off grid more? And renters want to go off grid more, so you don't have to have, you just have solar power, which is really nice. So you kind of just got to look at what people are renting over there, and I can show you how to see what people are renting and what's good. But yeah, if they're trying to get rid of them, it shouldn't be hard for you to talk them down.
Okay. Yeah, I think for us, like the big thing would be, I don't want to pour a bunch into a down payment.
No.
But I also I just want to make sure the payment would support as well, whatever rent, so that we're definitely in the clear each month. So that's kind of the best, and you go for so much. So.
And what I did to find out, because I was really nervous getting this $2,000 a month payment. And I'm like, I don't even know if it's going to rent, it's such a big commitment. So what I did, and we got the VIN number and we put it on Outdoorsy to rent it out like 3 months from now to see if it would rent, and it blew up. So you can always test the market before you buy it too and just see. But there's other things that you can do. So just like Airbnb, Outdoorsy will take 20% of it, but I'm learning ways around that. So you have add-ons that they can get. So Outdoorsy will only take off the nightly rate. So you can have a really low nightly rate. So Outdoorsy gets less. And then you're like, I have a $500 cleaning fee, where you make up for it, but they don't take cleaning fee percentages. Or we have also a blow up air mattress that goes across the front seat for an add-on for $100, and they don't get those too. So there's different things you can do, and I can help you work the numbers to see if it would make sense for you guys. If you want any help.
Amazing. Thank you so much. This is super helpful.
Yes, you are welcome. This is what it's for. Any other questions?
I'm good. If someone else wants to go. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Omar, you had your hand raised and then it went down. Do you want to say anything?
I
Does
did.
anybody want
No, no worries. I blame you for waking up that itch that I've had for a long time, doing like a sub two on an RV. And
Yeah.
I think it's a phenomenal way that, or all the ideas that you're putting out there. I don't know if you guys noticed what I said right after my other little tidbit, but I've been going to dealerships as well. And what I
Mhm.
found is that a lot of people and dealerships encourage former customers to bring their RVs or recreational vehicles like the vans and put them up there as consignment. So if you guys are
Yeah.
really interested, you guys should go and build a relationship and see whenever any consignment type of RV comes in, and then they'll just take a fee, right, for setting up the deal. So there's a
Yeah.
lot of ways, but you just have to do it in a market, kind of like what you said, Carly, that is not a hot market. I'm in
Mhm.
Riverside County, so in Marietta area, and
Yeah.
it is extremely hot because people have a lot of money here and in Orange County. So you're not going to find good deals or people that are going to want to get rid of it. Like
No.
Carly said, find something that's out in the middle of nowhere, like Blythe, if they do sell RVs out there, right? And because the
Yeah.
market's not there. So just be strategic on where you're looking for. And oh, cool, Christy, we can connect. I put my Blink card in, then
Nice.
we can strategize.
That's awesome.
Um, but
Yeah.
yes, find somewhere like Barstow or whatever and get creative, because I think there's a lot of us that want to do creative financing in RVs, and we can
Mhm.
even be connectors, and go from there. So anyway, just want to offer that small piece of advice because I am heavily looking into it. I recently went to Yonge and I rented an RV and it was atrocious. The guy that was renting it's extremely dirty and it was just nasty, and it cost me like $2,800 so for a
Where did you
week.
rent it from?
And so uh outdoorsy. Horrible experience.
Really? Were they very nice? Were they responsive to you?
Yep. So the actual service was awesome. It's the actual renter. There was safety concerns on.
Oh, we lost him. He went away. But he had a lot of really good points. So he was talking about consignment. Consignment's like, I have a car, but I don't want to sell it to the dealership, but I want to put it on the dealership's lot for a fee. That's a really good idea. So I'm sure Omar will come back and he can finish, but um
Yeah, I don't know why.
oh, there you are. You're
Yeah, sorry about
there.
that.
You came back. I don't see you anymore,
I
but
think
you're here.
that's just,
Now you're cutting out.
yeah, the signal.
You guys don't have very good service over there in Marietta. That's okay. Okay. Johnny, yes, you raised your hand. Any questions? You got to unmute though.
Oh, sorry, I thought I unmuted. Okay.
There you go.
I'm Johnny. This is Allie.
Huh?
We're actually in the very, very early stages of planning to do like an RV tour around the US.
Yeah.
And also I'm actually working on the second payment in the Gator method. So I'm like a half Gator right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was me. Um, but so I also got I was looking on YouTube at car stuff. I've been interested in doing car rentals on Turo.
Mhm.
And I came across Pace's stuff about subtuning cars. And I got those contracts. So what I was wondering is there a difference in the contract between subtuing or seller financing a car or an RV?
There's not. And that's a really, really good question because I didn't know either. And Pace's TC Molly, I had her, she's like, we've never really done an RV. So you're kind of our beta test. Like you're our little monkey that we're testing on. And it's funny because I was like, she gave me, I got all the documents from her. It's just like a car. However, each state is different. So Like if you watched the North Carolina Escalade that Pace watched on YouTube, that had to go as a lease option just because the way they did the transaction, it's still a subject to, but because of North Carolina, the certain type of state it is, they had them do it this way. I bought mine in Idaho, my trailer, and it's just same type of paperwork. You just take it over. One thing that you always want to do is and if you guys ever get anything under contract, I can bring the documents and help TC it for you, and kind of walk you through it. It is different by state, but we can figure it out. But one thing you will want to do, it's a little bit riskier with these because at least in Idaho, the license and registration stays in the seller's name. So I have to change the address to my address so I get the license plates and the registration and stuff. But it's all pretty much the same between RVs and cars. It's just the states are the only things that differ, which you just have to do a little bit of research. It's not too bad. So
Okay,
yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
And then what Omar was saying about the dealership lot consignments.
Yeah.
So if you're doing that, are you purchasing it like in the paperwork? Are you dealing with the dealership or with the private seller? I mean, obviously you're dealing
I
with
was
both.
dealing with both
Yeah.
because I mostly got the dealership involved because it's scary buying it's like a 250, that wasn't that much. It was like $230,000 that you're wiring over, and you have to because you're getting a loan sponsor for it. And then they have the title and there's like a lot of trust because it's not like you can be like, here, let's meet and swap. You have to be like, okay, I'll wire the money, but you have to promise to send me the title. And you have to hope that this guy that you met off the internet is a legit person,
Right.
It's good if you have friends in the car business. My brother works in the car business, so he helped me a lot with it. I don't know if you can, I'm sure that they might help facilitate deals. So, I just had them do it because it was just really scary. In like the whole, I have never done that before with I'm like, this dealership, they buy and sell cars all day long, and they're like, this is what they do for business day in and day out. So I got them involved just also because my brother works at a dealership. So that helped too. I'm sure you can get dealerships to help you, but you're going to have to make it worth their while for sure.
Right. So,
Yeah.
So what I was getting at, I guess, is like you're obviously going to be paying the dealership a fee. That's their consignment fee.
Yeah.
Right. But then can you go about it? Like, obviously it's easier to do subject to or seller financing with private sellers as opposed to dealerships because they want to get banks involved. So in a consignment, it kind of seems like that's the convergence of both there.
It is.
So
Yeah.
are you able to kind of go to the dealership? This is that. You're able to go to the dealership and say, okay, I want to make this deal with the actual seller. And then you'll get your fee, kind of like using an agent for a wholesale.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I'm almost positive that's how it works. If Omar's still here, let us know in the chat, Omar, if that works. I'm almost positive that's how it works. Car dealerships like to sell it to you because then they can finance you. So they make money on the finance and they sell you warrant. They just upsell you all over the place. I don't think that will happen with consignment. They just are like, pay us to put it on the lot for advertising. So yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Awesome. That might be a good way to go then, I think.
Yeah, it is. So, and if you're in places like, I don't know, where are you guys?
Fort Collins, Colorado.
Nice. So you were in a really hot market for these things.
Yeah.
Just like I was. You're in a really good market for it to rent, not in a good place to buy, because I'm assuming that Fort Collins people, Colorado is all over the vans.
Yes,
so,
absolutely.
Yeah.
I had one myself. I had to sell it.
Did you?
But yeah, so I was actually wondering about that. Not that, I would assume that every market in the US, but like obviously people in Fort Collins and Colorado in general do like their vans and their RVs and stuff. But winter here can be kind of brutal, at least in my opinion.
Yes.
So I don't know, how that affects things,
That is true. And I was talking to another friend of mine in Denver and she really wants a van. And we were looking, because winters aren't as brutal here in the Seattle area, but I mean, it's just rain, you know, you guys have more snow and it's just colder. So what we're trying with ours, and I'll let you know how it goes. Skiing is huge there. So our van, it's completely off grid. It has pipe heaters, so you can use it in the winter, has heat.
Oh, cool.
It has, so like the pipes won't freeze. So the way we're marketing it right now is to people who ski bums and they want to go up to the mountain all weekend or all week, but it's expensive to stay up there. At least in the ski areas that we have here, they have RV hookups. You don't need a hookup, but they have for the van. I mean, we're even going to do it for the trailer too, probably. But look in your local ski areas and see if they have like overnight parking available. Sometimes you can rent spots. And I have written our outdoorsy ad geared towards people going skiing this winter. So obviously the mountain hasn't opened yet, so I don't know how it's going to go. But then what I'm also doing, because we have Thanksgiving and Christmas coming up, I'm going onto my local city's Facebook groups where like the city groups, the town talk. And I'm like, hey, I have these 2 RVs. I'll deliver them to you for free. The holidays are coming. You can rent them for your guests, because everybody's guests are coming to town and nobody wants their in-laws staying in their house with them. Like, let them stay in your driveway. We'll bring it. We won't charge you a fee. We'll set it up. All that stuff. So, you have to get creative with it. Yeah. This is our first winter and we haven't had a rental in like 3 weeks and we're kind of sweating right now. Yeah. Because I heard someone ask, is there off seasons? And so there is, like right now, fall, it's rainy and dark and no one's going on vacation. No one's skiing yet. So fall will be, I think is going to be our deadest season, but I think you guys might have an option with that. And then another thing that you can do is, I was also thinking if they don't go well, I would rent them one ways all the way down to Arizona and have somebody go into business with somebody in the winter and be like, hey, I'll give you I need to make my payment and I'll just give you the rest if you want to rent it out for me, you know?
That makes sense.
So you have to get creative, but I think you guys definitely could do it.
Cool.
People rent RVs out all the time on Airbnb. We haven't tried that yet. Oh, and there's also, I know you want a van. It's going to be harder for vans, but we're also reaching out to insurance companies that had, like people that are displaced, like for fires or stuff. If they want to stay at their house, you can, I think this will be more for our trailer because the van is so tiny and it's really small. It's tight. So we'll reach out to insurance companies and be like, do you want us to bring a trailer over? And all they need is a plug-in. They just need power to plug in. And then there's those septic tanks will come clean out the black and the gray tanks. So you just have to have somebody clean out your dirty water and stuff. But
right.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Good questions. Any other questions, you guys? Let's see. Insurance is, if you guys do get insurance, go through Roamly. Ironically enough, it's owned by Outdoorsy. Outdoorsy makes so much money because they make the owner get insurance, they make the renter get insurance, and they own the insurance company. It's there's also another place in Arizona. It's 3 letters. I can't remember what it is, but yeah. So you have to get the really good kind of MBA. Yes, Mike, that's it. MBA insurance. It must be well known. So do you guys have any other questions?
I have it.
Yes. Who is that? Who's talking?
Hi, it's me, Razan. I don't know if my camera is on.
I can't find you. I would bring you up. There you are. Hi.
Hi. So like even I'm not in the RV park business, but like if I want to come in, like if I want to start on the RV park business, so what are the things I need to be prepared of? Like what kind of things I need to be like a little bit more cautious, like before I invest in RV park things, even if I want to go like creatively.
So like if you want to do a park, I have not done parks yet. So I am not the most qualified person to ask that. But I'm looking at RV parks and I'm looking at a lot of them. And what I've learned is you underwrite them and they're very similar to multifamily. Depending on where you go, a lot of them are ma and pa operated. So we're looking at one in Oregon in Coos Bay, and they're like, well, it's ma and pa owned, and ma had a stroke and has dementia. And here is a copy of the books. And it's like scribble on notebooks, like there is no books. So, I mean, those can be good if you buy them right. I think with any real estate, look at it like it's a multifamily, look at like rent rolls, T12s, and RV parks are really nice because they have just like apartment buildings, they have a lot of, where you, revenue streams. So you can have like gift, laundromats, that'll make money, gift shops. I've seen a lot of RV parks have storage trailers. They'll have glamping. They'll have trailers that you can rent there. So that's another way, just get really creative with your revenue streams. And then also with RV parks, unlike multifamily, depending on where you buy it, it's a seasonal thing. Like right now, nobody's RVing. Pace just bought one in Kalispell, and I was talking to him, 2 RV parks in Kalispell, Montana. And I was like, what are you going to do in the winter? And he's like, well, that's going to suck, but good thing there are, self-storage units that he can rent out. So it helps sustain the revenue, but does that answer your question?
Yeah, like for example, we're talking about the RV tailors. Yeah, so like if somebody is on behind on the like RV things, or like how do we find the deals? Like if we want to go on a creative side.
Yeah, so I go to RV Trader and I'll look at the days that it was listed, and we'll reach out to them. The other thing is get with people that are buying real estate, especially people who are buying real estate for distressed properties, like the pre-foreclosure that I bought from. And they're just like, take it. Like you have to get someone with a lot of motivation, because it's like I was telling you, it stays in their name. The license and registration will stay in their name. The mortgage stays in their name. And they just have to trust that this random stranger off the internet is going to take their trailer out of state and promise them that they're going to make the payments and not ruin their credit. So yeah. I get a lot. I talk to a lot of people. So if you are interested, let me know what you're looking for. I pass on a lot trailer wise. I will only get one that is able to be pulled by like an F-150 or 25 or 1500, a smaller truck, because that's what I have. And 2, not a lot. And fifth wheels need like big F-250s. And there's like a special trailer in the bed. It's going to be harder to rent it out unless you deliver it for them. So, Sabrina, I don't rent my truck with my trailer, but I've thought about it. You could Turo it. Honestly, I use my truck for my everyday driver, so I haven't been that motivated to yet, but people have asked and they're like, can my Tacoma pull this? I'm like, yeah, it can, but you probably want something bigger. But yeah.
I have one more question.
Yeah.
Like, so if you can just like put like the information on the chat, things like the basic things like the best RV vendor or the insurance stuff, like all the useful research, that will be great from your side.
Like where would I use for to run my RVs and everything?
So even like for the like RV like vendors or the insurance stuff, like basically for like RV tailor, I'm like on the zero, like I'm on standing on the zero. So like that will, everything will be helpful like for us, I believe.
Yeah. So for insurance, I use Roamly. And then I put it up on, I rent it out on Outdoorsy is my number one thing. I have it on RV Trader. No one's ever bought off of there. And then there's RVZ. I've had 2 rentals off of that. That are the ones that I use. Also, something that people don't think about when they want to get into the RV business is they break. I mean, that's just the nature of RVs. It's a house on wheels. And so depending on where you live, from every place I've lived, it's been RV friendly. It takes 3 weeks to get in to an RV repair person. So I am building relationships with, I live close to the Gig Harbor RV park. And I went over there and I was just like, who do you guys use when people need fixing? And they have a mobile guy that comes, and I called the mobile guy. I built a relationship with him. And actually the black tank, which is the poop tank, you have a valve and you pull it open to dump it. The whole thing came out, like the knob. So I couldn't dump it. And I called him and I'm like, can you come over? Because I knew that I might have had to cancel a booking that was coming up. And he's like, he was so nice. He didn't have to do this. I called a bunch of people and they're like, oh, I can't do it. I'm not messing with the poop stuff. No, no, no. And so I called this guy and he's like, send me a picture of what came off on just send me on text. And so I texted it to him. He's like, oh, all you need to do is you need to go do this, get some Gorilla Tape, get an X-Acto knife, buy a new handle, go through here, screw it back in. And he didn't charge me for that. And so like we built a good relationship. And so now I'm going to go to him and be like, you know, the poop stuff, Lance says, yeah. So build relationships, especially with the travel mobile service departments. They don't like to deal with the poop stuff. If there's anything wrong with your poop tank, I don't blame them. It's other people's stuff. That's another thing. It's not fun to deal with when you rent out. Is one way where we make money is it is not fun to dump poop, especially other people's poop. It's like one thing when it's yours, but it's grosser when it's someone else's that you don't know. Yeah. And so we have an add-on where like, you have to dump your stuff. And if you don't, we're going to charge you $250 if I have to do it. You are going to make it worth my while to dump your poop. And so, and you have things like that too. Like we delivered to an RV park and it was only for 2 days. And they're like, you don't have to hook up the sewer. And I was like, okay, I won't. And they're like, it's only 2 days. I'm like, yeah, it's only 2 days. And we went to pick it up and they're like, I should leave this out. It gets a little rancid. But he's like, well, sorry, my son takes big poops. And so it was so full that it was coming out through the shower. And it was just disgusting. And we're like, that is going to be $250 from now on. So it's lesson learned. If you have to dump other people's stuff and clean it, it gets extremely gross. But yeah.
Okay. Thank you for like your information. Really.
You're welcome. Good questions. Okay. Any other questions? Johnny says, I'll dump your poop for $250. Yeah. It's just the worst part. Like Omar said, yeah, that's the RV rent mogul life. Like that. So, that's one thing we learned. But it's been very lucrative. Yeah, Lance says that's happened to us on a week-long trip. It's literally the worst part of owning an RV. It really isn't as bad as it sounds. But it has been lucrative. We got our RV, our trailer. We picked it up 4th of July weekend last summer. And then we got we got the van in September. So we really started at the end of the season pretty much, especially for the van. But we're good through the winter, which is good. We've made, I think, about $11,000 in that short amount of time. And the trailers, it's going to have to carry, it'll probably break even the first year because we're going to use a lot of that money to pay down, especially the Sprinter. So, how do the returns work out? Loan insurance versus average monthly booking for the trailer on Outdoorsy. So the returns are pretty good, like especially with that trailer. It's amazing because it's a $250 a month payment, and we had it rented out. We had it rented out for like 2 weeks. One couple took it to North Dakota. But the van will be more lucrative, but the pull trailer is more consistent, if that makes sense. So it all makes sense. And you just have to learn. If you guys are interested, if you have something and you want me to help you look at it, I'll help you look at it. And like, I will tell you, don't buy anything past you're pushing it. I bought one that was built in 2015. Don't buy anything past like 2015, maybe even 19. Also, when COVID happened, everything was flying off the shelves. And I have heard from some RV people that 2021 and 2022 were poorly built because they were just cranking them out and just trying to get them sold. So there's a lot of, you got to get an extra warranty on them. Oh, sorry. Johnny says, when you say past, you mean older or newer. Don't go any older than 2015. Mileage. That's a really good one too, Christy. You want to get something with low mileage. Because we got our van with low mileage and we're like, this is awesome. And it was great. But that's another thing people don't think about is the more you drive something, the faster it depreciates. And so with real estate, we're used to having real estate is always an appreciating asset. With these RVs, it's always a depreciating asset. So when somebody was asking, what do you look at? That's another thing we look at is how fast it will depreciate, and we can write it down. So, and if the return is worth it. One of the other things we have, especially for the van, my dad told me that luxury cars, they only can go so many miles, then they'll charge X amount over miles. So we allow 100 miles per day. And then we had it at 50 cents per day or 50 cents per mile over. So you kind of get some money there. It really doesn't turn out to be a lot in the end. So you really want to hope that people just don't, just kill it on the mileage, especially for the driving ones. But we charge extra for the mileage on the van, but on the trailer, there's no mileage. There's not speedometer, whatever that thing's called. So, it's good to look at who your renter avatar is. Odometer. Thank you, Johnny. I kept trying to say speedometer. One good place to start is looking at who would rent and like look at the demographic in your area. So ours it's going to be a lot of like locals who just want to get out of town and don't have anything. And then also we have people flying in from Florida to be like, we want to go experience the Great Pacific Northwest. Our first rental was from Florida, the sweetest couple. They just found out they were pregnant and they dented it. That's tough. It's tough when you have such an emotion, you don't get an emotional connection to those. It's hard when you wanted it for so long, but yeah, I'm just going off on a tangent. How do you handle cleanings? Hi, Karima. I do it myself. My husband and I do it, and we put our kids to work. So we want to get more, and we're learning because this is our first season. If we want to scale it, we got to make a who, not how situation. So deliveries, they take up a lot of time if you deliver them. So we charge a lot for deliveries. And then another thing is we dropped off the van at the airport because people were flying in. And the van is too tall to fit in the parking garage. So you have to park in an outdoor parking place. And then I was going to get an Uber home. And I live about 30 miles away from the airport. And I was just across the street from the airport, and Uber charged it like it was an airport pickup. So they charge more at airport. So it was about $150 just to get home on an Uber. So you have to take like all of these things into account. So I think that we're going to start looking for people. So if you know anybody in Washington that knows about RVs and cleaning and can drive a truck and all of that stuff, that would be awesome if you want to work. So, Leah says, do you have a towing service in case it breaks down? This is really nice. A lot of people will say, why will you go direct booking? Like, so you don't have to go through Outdoorsy and you get the percentage. I don't think I'll ever go off Outdoorsy because they do background checks. They make them get insurance, which also includes AAA or a breakdown situation. So we're both insured that way, which is really, really nice. Let's see. Brenda says, I wonder if you can hire someone to do your maintenance, like property management, real estate, and give them 20% profits. That's exactly what I want to do. Sorry, my dog is trying to get the hot dog that my daughter left. So if you guys know anybody in the Seattle area that can pull a trailer, they can drive my truck if they want. Gary says, are you buying out of state? Yes. How do you get someone to check out the RV? I bought the trailer out of state and had nobody look at it. I'm a trusting person. That's my toxic trait. I am so trusting. It's going to bite me in the ass one day, but I got to know the lady who was selling it. She was just in a really bad spot. And I could just tell that she was truthful. And, I figured with that one, I basically got paid to buy it. So if there was something that was really bad with it, then it hopefully wouldn't be too big of a loss, but it turned out to be okay. So, but Mike, you say you do a 60-40 split. You take care of everything for the owners. So what you're doing, I've seen people do this and I was thinking about doing it, is you just, instead of going to buy them, you get owners that are good to rent it out and you just manage it like like a manager, like an Airbnb manager. Ooh, Johnny says for cars, there's yourmechanic.com, mobile mechanics all over the country. That's interesting. Yeah. Yeah. Co-hosting agreement. I want to look into that. Right now with two, because I have a lot that come to me. So if you guys are interested in getting creative RVs, let me know what you're looking for. Vans are going to be really tough. I've never had a van come to me, else I would probably keep it. But if you guys like reach out to me and let me know what you're looking for, I should have like a list or something. I get a lot of Class C's, which is like the driving ones, like the mini Winnies, the motorhomes that you drive, like that have like the Ford van front. So, any other questions? This is all for you guys. Yeah, it's getting late, so we'll go. If you guys have any questions, here, if you guys want me to look at anything, here's my Calendly link. I'm happy to help you guys. I'll probably do more Q&As because everyone's like, hey, can I pick your brain? And I'm like, I would love for you to pick my brain, but I'd rather do it with like a bunch of people listening and like more people that can get help. So what's the average? Daniel wants to know what the average occupancy your trailer had for the last few months. I'll show you. I don't know. We can look it up together. Let's look. You guys can leave if you want. I'm just going to pull up my Outdoorsy account. And I'll show you guys what's been, I think it shows at least. Here's my bookings insights. I wonder if it tells you what my occupancy is. Analytics. It doesn't tell you my occupancy rate. Let me go back here to my calendar. So this is for the trailer. I wonder if it'll show in the past. It doesn't let me show past ones. Darn it. It won't let me show the past one. I should go back and look, but the trailer, the RV, we got it and we weren't able to take it. We really bought it for ourselves, like Christy was talking about how she wants to do. And we didn't get to take it out until like 2 months after we had it. So it was I know you were asking for the trailer. The van was rented out a lot, and the trailer, it's like, it probably was available 1 week a month total, adding all together. But you can kind of see on here. September. So we just started on this, but anyways, that doesn't answer your question. I know. I have no answer. I'm sorry. Yeah, I think you're probably right. 75% occupancy. It'll be interesting when it starts in the spring and just see where it goes this summer. So, Mike, I would love to talk to you about how you manage owners' rentals and how you find them. That's pretty cool. In North Carolina, where are you, Mike, in North Carolina? I have a midterm rental I'm buying there right now. And I have no idea about North Carolina. All right. So thanks for coming, you guys. I know it's getting late. And outside of Charlotte. It's awesome. All right. Have a good day, you guys.